Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lexi and today we're doing another pick a card. Today's pick a card is messages from your inner child. I was supposed to get this up last week, but your girl had a bit of a flare up, so that's why I've been. On the topic of that, I want to say a really big thank you before I continue. In my video a couple of weeks ago when I was talking about my PMDD and how if I'm away for a little while it's because I'm flaring up, I got so many, and I'm still getting so many emails of you guys sending me remedies and just anything that you can do or know about to help with PMDD, and I'm just so appreciative. I've gone through so many emails in regards to that and you guys helping me out, and I just really appreciate you guys. I'm implementing them all one by one because I've written them all down in a book, and I'm just implementing them one by one to see what works for me and what doesn't, so it's taking its time because I'm just trying them all out at different times, but know that I'm just super grateful. And I really do appreciate you guys for really looking out for me and helping me. So I wanted to say, just show my gratitude there, because I've got so many machines and herbs on the way to help it out, and I just really appreciate you guys for looking out for me there. So I wanted to say that before I get in. So we have 3 piles for you guys to choose from. Pile number 1 is the green calcite. Pile number 2 is the Bumblebee Jasper. And pile number 3 is the Selenite Sapphire. So see which crystal you are drawn to. The timestamps are going to be in the description box as usual. And I will see you guys at your timestamps. Hey pile 1, welcome to your reading. So we are taking a look at what messages your inner child has for you right now. So you guys chose the green calcite. I'm going to start with tarot and then we're going to move on to your oracle cards. So spirit guides, can you tap me into, can you tap me into the collective of my pile number 1s, please? The green calcite piles. I'm being shown the Pisces symbolism. So you may have a lot of Pisces in your chart. That's just something that's coming through. Take it how it resonates. Pile number 1, please. Pile number 1. I had a dream the other night, and I'm being told to mention it because I feel like it will really reign true for you guys. In the dream, I was called into this really robotic, let me put these down so I can explain it to you. I was called into this really robotic building. It was a really modern building, a very clinical feeling building, and there were humans walking around, but they didn't feel human. They almost had a sense of a robotic nature, that true selves were almost caged in a way. They moved in a very robotic way, and they very much lacked empathy, and I was trying to feel my way around the room, and everybody's empathy was kind of shown in the dream being like a flower, and I knew if somebody was really connected to their emotions and their empathy and their selves, because the flower was really blooming, but when people's flower was still a bud or was kind of enclosed or was dying out, they came across more robotic in nature. I almost felt like I was speaking to a robot in a way. It was really bizarre. And I remember going around, and there was no plants anywhere, there was no animals anywhere, and people were really just not moving in a way that felt right to me. They weren't being empathetic towards each other, they were being cold, and it triggered me because it was oh my god, that's how I feel a lot in life, with people that I've dealt with. I felt like they weren't being kind to each other, or they weren't being kind to animals, they didn't care about mother Gaia, and it almost triggered me in a way. And I'm being told to mention that in regards to you, we are one of those people. They're showing me my dream where the flower would have been in full bloom. You're very connected to your emotional center, you're very connected to your heart, which is probably why you chose the green calcite. You're very connected to your own inner divine feminine, your own heart space kind of leads the way for you, and that's something that they want me to know going into the reading and confirm about you, is that you see life through a very beautiful lens of you are me, I am you. It's like Avatar when they say I see you, because they really see each other. It's you really see people. I feel like you're the type of person that will look around and see people's inner child, see people's hurt, see people's pain, and I'm being told that even in childhood you did that, you know. You were one of those people. You really felt people, you understood people, And I've been told that from a very early age you would have been able to hold space for people. So you may have had to hold space for siblings as a child, and also parents, but I'm being told that you were learning to hold space for people before you could even regulate or understand your own emotions. You were processing other people's emotions before you even knew what your own emotions were. Before you even knew what your own needs were, you were processing other people's needs. And that's something coming through really, really strongly, that you may have learned to like overgive, overshare, overcompensate. Where you saw a lack of love, you may have overcompensated with a lot of your love. So you may have dealt through childhood with a very overactive heart chakra, or you may still be dealing with an overactive heart chakra because it's like you saw pain in the world and it's like, I want to heal it. I feel like you were born healers, and I think that you saw a lot of pain and it was like, I need to, from very young, and it was like your intuition was understanding it before your young mind could understand it. It was like, I need to help, I need to give. You were so connected to your own mission, but I feel like, you know, certain parents that were around you, people that should have taught you to regulate your own needs and emotions first, I feel like there was an absence of that. So where there was an absence of that, you learnt to overgive, which wasn't your fault. And I need to say that before I continue, it wasn't your fault, because you had the right idea intuitive wise, but because you didn't have that strong essence of, okay, we need to give to ourselves first, we need to fill up our cup, we need to understand our own emotions, regulate them first. You had then the task of kind of learning the hard way when it came to having to put yourself first and not self-sacrifice. I feel like you definitely had to learn the hard way growing up, to really have strong boundaries. And it goes beyond boundaries, it goes beyond I'll put these down a minute. It goes beyond boundaries, it goes beyond that. It's more like, who am I? What are my needs? What is my purpose? What am I feeling in this moment? How can I understand this? How can I really nurture myself right now? How can I, you know, really reparent myself right now? Like, and it also takes me to the solar plexus too, because it's also like, how can I give myself a confidence boost right now? How can I, because I feel like you may have been gaslit a lot, so it's like I'm saying something to someone, they're gaslighting me. How can I stand firm without, you know, cracking at someone telling me that I'm wrong? How can I stand firm in my own opinion? What even is my opinion? There's a lot of that which we'll probably get into, but that's something that I'm being shown straight away, tapping into your pile. But you're definitely born healers. I feel like you've almost acted like an earth angel for people on earth, that you've fallen, you know, onto, like friends and acquaintances and people like that. You really have helped people, and I think sometimes you underestimate the weight of how much you've helped people, how much you've looked out for people, how much, like, even if people can't process it themselves, how much you have genuinely meant to people in that way. I think sometimes you tell yourself that you haven't, but you have. Let me get into it. Pile number one, please, spirit guides. What message does pile number one's inner child have for them? Page of Pentacles. What message does pile number one's inner child have for them? Five of Swords. Okay. Yeah, you naturally see things from a higher vibration anyway, because I do think that you do tend to incarnate a lot in like higher realms. There's not a lot of, you know, when we tap into like places like Andromeda, you know, Sirius A, Sirius B, places like that, they exist in much higher vibrations. But when we incarnate in places like Earth, the Pleiades, they very much exist in like, they can exist in 4D, 5D, but they usually tend to exist a lot in like the 3D as well. So I feel like a lot of your incarnations haven't really been too much on Earth or too much in the Pleiades. If you do believe in starseeds, I feel like you tend to stay where you can really hold this hardy frequency and live there. I feel like when you do incarnate, I feel like you're very selective where you incarnate, what family you incarnate into. It's like there's a purpose for everything that you do. Being told when you do incarnate into the 3D realm, it's very far and in between, is a message coming through, because you hold such a bright light. You are here to see that light in the 3D, so it's like you're here to seed that empathy, that hearty energy. You're here to seed it where there is a drought. And I feel like that can be really hard for you existing in lower realms where you're seeing a lot of chaos and pain and people not acting out of their higher potential that you naturally see in them. And I think even just seeing people around you, it's like, you know, you may have a sibling, you may have a friend, and you see their highest potential, but they're not acting, you know, they're not acting out their highest potential, and you're like, oh my god, like, you really could have all of this and you're not, and you take on that pain and responsibility, like you need to get them there. And you are a healer, you are someone that can help people do it, but you're learning to tap into your own divine feminine and let it come to you instead of you seeking it, which we'll explain in a second. Your inner child's coming to say you've never really been allowed to be an inner child, yet you very perfectly held on to your inner child, held on to looking at life in a beautiful way like that. You've very perfectly maintained that light of an inner child, that optimism of an inner child, while having to adult at a young age when you should have been playing and, you know, not, you know, wondering what you were having for food that night, not wondering, you know, if your dad was going to be okay, or if your mom was going to be okay, or if your siblings were okay. Like, there's a lot of things you missed out on, in that sense, I'm being told, for a lot of you guys. I'm going to pull one more. Pile number 1, please, spirit guides, message from that inner child. Pile number 1, please, spirit guides, pile number 1, messages from that inner child. We have the 2 of Pentacles reversed. It came out reversed. I'm going to place it upright and just read the energies, how they come in, but it did come out in a reverse. In the back of the deck, we have the 2 of Swords. Okay. So your inner child is coming to say that, did you daydream a lot in childhood? There's an essence that you used to daydream a lot in childhood to escape a lot of pain, and you weren't doing anything wrong. I think that was your inner child's way of keeping safe, and tapping into a higher vibration. When we imagine, when we daydream like that, we tap into our crown chakra, you know, that really exercises that. And I feel like you guys may have done that a lot and went to kind of like a safe place. So you could have like, you know, you could have had like your own little world in your head that you used to go to. I used to connect with spirit quite young. You know, you had like imaginary friend and stuff like that. Yeah, I used to do that a lot. So you guys may have done the same. But I feel like that first of all, there's your inner child's almost coming through to say that you have become everything that you needed in your childhood. That's the first thing. I think that you did long for someone to give you the same nurturing you gave to other people, give you the same empathy that, you know, you gave to other people, give you the same understanding that you gave to other people. I feel emotional, but the first thing I want to say is you've been that for a lot of people. And why you saw a drought of it and you didn't receive it for yourself, you gave it to others. And there's just a beautiful admiration coming from your inner child. Like, what you saw a lack of, you became. And there's a beautiful like heartwarming energy there that people have received that nurturing and received that grace that you saw a lack of in your childhood, that they also had a lack of in their childhood, and they received it from you. You've really helped people, and that's something that your inner child wants to mention first. You've really helped others. You've really held space for others. You really nurtured others. And even when people couldn't quite give you the gratitude that you deserved, even when people couldn't quite regulate it on their own or understand it, they still felt it, and there's still a gratitude there and understanding, and you really helped people. I keep wanting to say, you've really helped people. Really helped people, and that's a strong message. And I think that you are someone as well that, again, you see their highest potential and you want the best for them, and I feel like you've gone the extra mile for people to really try and get them to that point to reach their highest potential. And I'm being told to say, and I'm being told you already know this, it's not your fault that they didn't want to reach that, and it wasn't your job. And again, I'm being told that you know this now. And what I'm being told right now is that you're learning to finally receive, and this isn't anything that you don't already know. Like, I keep being told, you know, and you're understanding that it's your time to receive now and give that nurturing to you and give that healing to you. These little acts that you did to help people and nurture and give it out, you were on the money, but you're someone that doesn't need to go seek it out. People seek you out. You're someone that is here to exist in a very divine feminine energy, be in that state of receiving, and when people need you, they'll come to you. When the universe feels that somebody needs you, they'll bring them to you. And I mean that in regards to like career, or when you're ready to. You know what I mean? Not people that just are trying to pull at you. I feel like it would shock me if you don't work in like counseling, therapy, anything to do in the spiritual field. It would shock me, because I feel like you came here with a really strong mission like that. I feel like it's always been very open to you, and I feel like you're here to really guide and help people. But right now, the only strong message from your inner child right now is you're at a turning point where you are really seeing yourself. You are really getting to grips with how to receive, how to nurture, how to heal yourself, how to understand your own emotions. And I'm being told that right now you may be dealing with some darker emotions like anger, frustration. You may be feeling a little bit critical of people, I'm being told. You may be thinking, I'm hearing I don't want to be around anyone right now. Everybody wants to, take a bite of me. Everybody wants to pull at me. I don't want to be around anybody right now. And I'm being told to say you're not broken. You're feeling emotions that your inner child denied themselves of. Your inner child felt that it was their duty to give and heal and self-sacrifice. Your inner child now understands that that's not the case. And I feel like you've really been fighting for yourself, or had to fight for yourself. So what's happening now is your inner child's like, oh, we need to really process these emotions. What even are my emotions? What even are my needs? And it goes beyond that. It's like, how do I deal with these emotions now? How do I really feel these things that have been pent up? And I feel like right now you're dealing with emotions of, time periods where you felt you had to bite your tongue. Time periods where you felt like you had to self-sacrifice but you didn't want to. Time periods where you had to lower your standards to give to somebody else. You're now dealing with the more, like, I would say shitty emotions, which is what you denied yourself of. So you're not turning cold, you're not broken. You're dealing now with, actually, F you. You know what I mean? I'm allowed to feel this way. I'm allowed to feel a little bit critical of this. I'm allowed to feel a little bit of anger to that. That wasn't nice. Like, you shouldn't have treated me like that. I'm not your, toy. I'm not your healer like that. I'm not. And you, for the first time, are really regulating that. And you may be feeling a little bit like a feral cat right now. You don't want to be around anyone. And I'm being told this too shall pass. Your inner child's just referencing you're giving yourself some much needed time to grieve, to feel that anger, to, really, feel that feeling of like, F you, I shouldn't have been treated like that you weren't able to feel when you were younger. You didn't allow yourself to feel when you were younger. You weren't taught to feel when you were younger. And that's what you're dealing with right now, pile number one. Because you have a long road in regards to your life path, your soul purpose, in the sense of you're here to heal, give, help, teach. You're one of those people. But before you really take the stage, I'm being told, you're just making sure everything's in the right place and that you're rewiring yourself in a way where the universe is like, okay, this is what we deserve. This is what this person, deserves. This is what this person needs. This is this person's needs. You're getting into touch right now with your own needs, your own wants, your own feelings. That's what's happening right now. And you may be feeling a little bit worse for wear. You may be feeling a little bit low. You may be feeling like you're doing more bouts of shadow work. But really what it is, in a way, it is shadow work, but it's just a purge that's happening right now of you, of times when maybe you felt hopeless, or you felt guilt, or you felt like, I don't, F this, F everyone. Those time periods, it's like you're really feeling it now. It doesn't mean that you're going to look at life that way forever. It's just a period that I'm being called for you guys to just allow in, feel them, because you didn't honor them when you were young because you weren't taught to. Now it's time to just honor them. Don't push them away. It's time now to process them. And I feel like these emotions that you're feeling, they're from your inner child. And I'm also being told, like, in a teenager, you know, all these frustrations, you know, when you wanted somebody to reach their fullest potential and they wouldn't reach it, and it was like, why? You know what I mean? We could have aligned together, we could have been in a relationship together. Why didn't you reach that? Why couldn't you, you know, you're allowed to feel these, and you're honoring that. And Spirit's saying this time period for you, I'm being shown the number 2, so it could be as little as 2 weeks, could be 2 months, but it's just a time period of you feeling that. And I said in one of my pick a cards the other day, when we do self-sacrifice and we're always on the lookout for other people's emotions and other people's needs and wants, we never have time to rest. And when we start loving ourselves and we start nurturing ourselves exactly like you've been doing, and you've been remothering yourself, reparenting yourself, when you start to do that, your brain, your body starts to say, oh, okay, I'm being taught something now, and I'm being taught that it's okay to feel these emotions, and I'm being told to rest. Oh, well, I'm going to do that. And then you purge, you feel, and you rest for all the times that you buried it down. And in those time periods, we can feel broken, but we're not. We're just finally listening and allowing these emotions to come through, and allowing and honoring ourselves. And I feel like you guys have been on a bit of a self-love journey, and you may be thinking, well, I'm feeling like this isn't a self-love journey, I'm not being very kind to myself. But you allowing and honoring these emotions to come through is the greatest love you can give for yourself, because you're giving yourself the space, you're holding the space, you're giving yourself the grace that you've given to everybody else in your life, and you're finally giving it to yourself. You're finally learning to receive. So take this moment to really feel these frustrations. Let yourself rest if you need to. Because once you do that, the tide's going to bring you back to shore, and you'll be able to go up onto that stadium, and you'll be able to really build up this next chapter of your life where you are a lot more balanced. And again, like with this 5 of Swords, you know, walking away from conflict, it's like, I feel like you almost ran around trying to fix, but you're going to learn in this next phase of your life. All you have to do is really sit back. The universe will align you with who you need to really be helping, or jobs that you really need to be at to really be of service in a way where you're honouring yourself but can also honour others at the same time, instead of seeking it out and giving everything to somebody else, which I think that's a lesson you've learned. I think that you guys are empaths, and you've really been on a proper, like, really solidified, like, empath journey, and you've really listened to your heart and your intuition the whole way and guided yourself home. And your inner child, the message more strongly for this reading is, thank you. You've become everything that I needed in childhood, and now you're finally giving that to me. You're finally giving that to yourself. And there's so much gratitude there. So much gratitude there. I feel like you've really had to reparent yourself. So the strong message from your inner child is, thank you. Please keep feeling these and honouring yourself. I'm hearing the sun will come out tomorrow. From Annie. I'm hearing that. So I feel like this is just it doesn't feel like it's too intense. It just feels like a little slither of, oh, let me just feel these emotions that have been in my energy for some time. Let me just feel them. And you may be feeling guilt for feeling certain ways. I'm hearing the song by Demi Lovato, and I think it was called Father or something like that. And she wrote it about her father that had passed away. She didn't have a very good relationship with him, and he dealt with substance abuse issues. And she sings in the song, you did your best, or did you? Sometimes I think I hate you. I'm sorry, Dad, for feeling this. I can't believe I'm saying it. I know you were a troubled man. I know you never got the chance to be your best, to be a man, I think it is. I hope that heaven's given you a second chance. So there's something about that where you may be feeling guilt for feeling a certain way to a parent, but their higher self is even coming through to say, like, honour these feelings. You're allowed to have these feelings. I feel like you were gaslighted young. You can't feel this. How dare you feel this? You've got to be there for other people, and you've got to think positive, and you've got to, you can't have your own emotions and own thoughts. And I feel like you may still tend to, without realising it, gaslight yourself to be like, I can't be feeling this way about my cousin or my dad or my ex, but you're allowed to feel these feelings. If you're feeling something, you have to honour it, to let it pass. It doesn't mean you identify with it forever, but to heal it, we feel it so that we can transmute it to something else. And I feel like there's a strong message from a parent coming through to also say for you to honor yourself. I feel like you're like, I always have a pile where I can feel, they almost feel like they were raised by spirit in a way. Like I feel that way, like your own heart raised you, your own connection to the divine raised you, rather than somebody else telling you this is how to regulate your own emotions. You had to learn it, but you also followed your heart in that way. Like, I feel like this isn't just a case of you raised yourself. I feel like you were raised by the divine in a way. Like, that's how it feels. Pile 1, messages from that inner. Messages from that inner child. We have get creative. And we have, I'm going to put that out of the view. Pile number 1, messages from pile number 1s. Yeah, I feel like even when you didn't know what you were doing, I feel like you've always listened to your intuition. Like, when you turned inwards and you started healing, I don't think anyone said, do shadow work, heal. Like, you have to, no one, this is the thing when I mean about you raised yourself, you listened to your intuition and your heart the whole time. No one ever said, you know, hey, pal 1, you should put boundaries in with this person and not let them just take from you. It was like, you came to that realization on your own, like, oh, wait a minute, I don't think this is right, or I think I need to spend some time on my own. I think I need to start processing these emotions. No one told you to do it, you just did it. I feel like you always listen to these intuitive nudges and do it. You're very, very like that. Pile number 1, please, spirit guides, message from that inner child. We have patience. I just heard Rome wasn't built in a day. I just heard that for whoever needs it. If someone's trying to build up something, Rome wasn't built in a day. The back of the deck, we have ancestors. I feel like your ancestors in spirit have been helping you heal this. I feel like they may have had similar wounds to yourself of needing to self-sacrifice or overgive, and I feel like they've been really helping you. There's this grandmother coming through, strong heart chakra energy, that's really been helping out. It's like a particular grandmother that you probably would have known when you were alive. And I think you know that they would have the same woundings as you. Whether you've observed it or just been told. So there's a grandmother aiding you in spirit. It doesn't even feel like a mother, it does feel like a grandmother. Get creative. Patience. Why do we have get creative? This is the thing. You've gone through a lot of darkness to really transmute it, and you've always held on to your light. You've always held on to, again, this inner child outlook of so much colour in life and optimism. You may not be feeling it right this second, but it's still there. You're just regulating some emotions right now, and you're being called right now, movies, music, games you used to play as a child, to tap back into that, or whether it was just you went out in nature, to tap back into that to soothe you. That's always going to be there to soothe you. And I feel like the way you've held on to this light within you and this empathy within you and this connection to your inner child within you, you've never let go of your inner child's hand ever. There's a reference of you doing that almost gives you this unlimited expansive energy of looking at life that you really can apply yourself and bring in whatever it is that you need to succeed. I feel like you've chose the route less traveled right now, and maybe been doing a lot of healing and taking a lot of time out to do that, and it may not look like everything's expansive, but I'm being told you doing that and still holding on to your inner child, it's like there's a lot of blessings to come and look forward to, and that's something that wants to be referenced. You still have a strong connection to your inner child because of that. I don't think you're ever going to let go of that, because your inner child connection is your hearty energy, and connection to the divine, and I think that's really going to aid you. It was never a curse, it was a gift, and it was a gift to be able to see light and take yourself to heights that maybe other people would be too scared of. You know, like when children are not scared of anything and you can just make fun out of anything, like you can you know, I used to watch Doctor Who, obviously, as you know, as a child, and I used to have, I used to get sticks from the forest, and I used to pretend they were like, he has this sonic screwdriver that like opens doors, and I used to pretend it was a sonic screwdriver and run around. It was a twig, but in my mind it wasn't, you know. So it's like you have this way of looking at logical life and being like, yes, this is what I physically see, and I feel like you've reached a level now of practicality where you're like, I know what I physically need to do to get to where I want to go. But you also have that expansive childhood way of looking at things where it's like, I can bring in, I can go to the moon if I want to go to it. Like, I really can't. Like, there's nothing stopping you there. That side of you may be being alchemized right now with a butterfly here. However, it's still there. And I feel like you're going to see an expansion in that area soon. Okay, pile number 1, messages from that inner child. We have practice gratitude, last quarter moon in Sagittarius. I'm hearing the Janae Aiko lyric. Look at how far you have come. Look at all that you have going. Look at who you have become. Baby, you've got to keep going. Message from Spirit. I feel like that was more so if you listen to that song or not. It's Born Tired by Janae Aiko. There's a reference of looking, and when I'm looking at this, it literally looks like a meadow and then you have the sunset. There's a song in the Hunger Games that Katniss sings to Rue, who is the young girl that passes away, and the lyric is, deep in the meadow, under the willow, and in the song she basically describes this meadow under a tree, and there's like the sun rising, and she sings it to Rue as Rue passes away. And at the end of the movie, when she survives, she has children and she's sitting with the baby, and as the movie closes out, that song plays, and the last scene of the movie, she has her baby, she survived, and that song plays, and the lyrics, she's actually sitting in a meadow with her baby under a willow and the sun is rising. So it's like it comes true. So there's a reference of like, look at how far you've come and bask in everything that you've earned and who you've become and where you are and where you started out when you chose to start healing this. Look at where you are. And I'm hearing the I Can See lyric from Mac Miller. He sings, you've got so far to go, but look at where you came from. Because for the last quarter moon here, and I'm looking at the energy here, and it's, you know, midpoint almost there, and it's like halfway. And I'm hearing almost there by Tiana, Princess Tiana as well. And I'm also being told to remember that life is a journey. Pile number 1. Messages from pile number 1's inner child. You're going to create something. I just heard it's only the beginning. Like you're going to create something. That's really going to be healing to people. First quarter moon in Capricorn. Unleash your kindest self. I think that's the thing about you guys as well. You're incredibly kind people, and I think that you've been really, really kind to people, and you may have learned not to be so kind to yourself, and now you're dealing with the emotions that comes with that, but you're also honoring those feelings of having to self-sacrifice and not, you know what I mean, because you're learning to love yourself. So now you're seeing where people would have taken advantage, and now you're really being there for yourself and your inner child. That's the gratitude coming in. We have focus on the positive, new moon in Sagittarius as well. I feel like you're one of those people that does focus on the positive and focus on the bright side, and I feel like right now those emotions that were just almost trapped, it feels, you're feeling them and honoring them, and we look at that as negative, but if anything, that's the most beautiful thing, because you're finally letting them free. So you're not plagued by them anymore, and they're not regulating and manifesting in other ways. Pile number, oh god, we have Archangel Michael. You may work with Archangel Michael. Michael provides protection and strength. There's not one part of this journey that you weren't walking it alone. I feel like you've had really strong protection from spirit around you. I feel like you may have even from young, or maybe like at least in your teens, called out to spirit for help. They always heard you. They've always been guiding you. and helping you, and it's still the same right now. I'm looking at the stars at the top here, and it's reminding me, if you do connect with starseeds, I feel like you know, that's really coming through as well. I just feel like you've been really protected, really protected by spirit. And with the sword, it's reminding me of like the sword and the stone for some reason. I don't know why, when he pulls the sword out of the rock. But I feel like the reason that you've always been protected in that way is you've always worked with spirit, and I feel like you're one of those people that knows and understands that everything, I know that it's cliche, everything happens for a reason, but I feel like you're understanding now as you're looking back, and you're coming to that point of full circle where you're like, that had to happen to teach me this, and now I can do this. That had to trigger me so that it could come into my conscious reality that I had this pain, so I could release it, and then I could open up to something else. I wanted love before, but it wasn't working because of this, so I had to have that triggered to allow myself to pull it out so that I can be open to this coming in. I feel like there's a lot of like aha moments about to come in. The back of the deck, we have responsibility. Take responsibility for your own happiness. Yeah, you're really in that state of receiving now. I feel like you took responsibility for everybody else, and now you're learning to really take it for yourself and honor these feelings. Remember I said that spirit will bring you back to shore, and then we literally have the ocean here. So allow these feelings to come through. I see a lot, because the sun's in the background, I am seeing a lot of that's the word I'm hearing, rejoicing on its way in. You're about to see, and I think you're already, do you know, I'm not even going to say you're about to see, because I'm being told you're already seeing the results of the hard work that you've put into yourself, pile one. And there's just gratitude, like you've become everything that you needed in childhood, and now you're gearing up to really receive it. It's such like a beautiful homecoming that I'm tapping into, pile one. So the only message from your inner child is to really process and honor these feelings coming through, and just a big thank you and gratitude from your inner child, and letting you know that there's a side of your inner child that's transmuting right now, and that it's not lost at all. We have patience here, you know what that means. So pile one, that is what I have for you. I really hope this brought clarity for you guys. Hit the thumbs up and comment down below if it did. I'm sending you guys all of my love. I hope you have a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. So thank you guys for watching. Hey pal 2, welcome to your reading. So we are taking a look at what messages your inner child has for you right now. You guys chose the Bumblebee Jasper. I'm going to start with tarot, and then we're going to move on to your oracle cards. So pile number 2, please spirit guides. Pile number 2, tap me into the collective of my pile number 2, the Bumblebee Jasper. What message does that inner child have for them right now? What message does pile number 2's inner child have for them right now? We have the Seven of Cups. What message does pile number 2's inner child have for them? We have Strength. It's funny because when I was deciding on the crystals, I was straight away being taken to the solar plexus, and I was like, okay, so I put my hand over all my yellow ones, and the Bumblebee Jasper gave me warmth, and then we literally have the Strength card come through for you guys, which is Leo energy, which is fire energy that connects us again to the solar plexus. So what is this about? Pile number 2, messages from pile number 2's inner child. Wheel of Fortune. Message from pile number 2's inner child. Oh, okay, we have 5 cards for you guys. We have the Moon, and we have the 10 of Pentacles. Lovely. Okay, I'm hearing Lose Yourself by Eminem. You know, the end, he's like, you can do anything you put your mind to, man. Like something like that. I just heard that. We have the Hierophant at the back of the deck. Okay, pile number 2's inner child. What message does pile number 2's inner child have for them? Pile 2, very, very strongly, I'm being told that you guys have, it's given Leo energy again, because it's this fiery, passionate energy of going towards a goal, but it's that fixed energy that's like, the fire's here, but I'm going to keep it going because it's like that fixed energy. It's like a trailblaze. The fire's going to keep going because we have that, stamina. And I'm hearing The Greatest by Sia, which features Kendrick Lamar, where she sings, "Oh, I've got stamina." And that's something that I'm hearing and being told. It's like, there's something that I think you possess, and it's like a light that just doesn't go out. You know the song, "There is a light and it doesn't go out"? I'm hearing that too. A lot of songs coming through. I'm being called from your inner child to tap you into songs right now that make you feel inspired and make you feel like you can just take on 100 men. Like, the reason I'm saying that is because I feel like, similar to pile number 1, you have your inner child very, very deeply connected to you, but with you it's like this very fiery energy of you're able to see like the magic in life. You're able to see the expansive the expansion of life. You're able to see and take yourself to heights that other people wouldn't even think of, because it's like, oh, well, we wouldn't dream of that. And I saw a post, and I think it was Iggy Azalea the other day, and she posted something. I think she was in like an arena or something like that, and she said, I don't remember the quote, but it was something along of like, big dreams create, like, if you dream big and you have that like imagination, or you hold on to that imagination, you can really bring in whatever you want. And when you look at anyone that's done anything that's very out there, whether it's in, we want to take it to the music industry or not, they had to have that initial idea, but then they also had to really believe in themselves to do it. You know what I mean? Even just like starting on YouTube, like myself, like I had to really believe I would, have something worthy of helping people and, take that risk to be able to do it. I feel like there's something that like you may be like looking toward, and it doesn't even have to be that. You may have lost a little bit of your spark, and your inner child saying your spark isn't gone. And even if it was, we can always relight that. You know what I mean? The sun doesn't burn out, the sun's still here. It's like your inner child's calling you to listen to those songs that would like pump you up or make you feel good or make you feel excited for life. Do those things that make you excited for life. Maybe things have become a little bit drab. Maybe you've been doing shadow work, or maybe you've been dealing with the more grown-up aspect of life where you've been really just like physically working towards a goal, and your inner child is like, the way you spark me back up is thinking outside of the box again. It's being that champion and that cheerleader for yourself. You may be looking at other people and saying, oh, well, you're looking for other people to validate it, and you only need your own validation. With the Hierophant at the back of the deck, it could be something connected to spirituality. It could be messages that you wanted to get out there, but then you're doubting yourself. You're doubting that that's something that you should be getting out there. And that's kind of like scary business sometimes, because there's a lot of like stigma around tarot readers and things like that. Not being very truthful and things like that. There's so much stigma around that, so that's very understandable if that's the case. But there's just this strong message of you right now believing in your own source, believing in anything you can. And I was saying a pile 1, with an inner child, with any child, they look at life in such an expansive way. They believe they can do anything. You know what I mean? They honestly believe they're invincible, because they haven't been taught yet of the dangers of the world or anything like that. So they honestly believe they can climb up that tree if they want to, even if they got tiny legs. Like, they genuinely believe that they can do it. They don't even worry about falling out of the tree. They haven't seen anyone do it yet. So there's this essence of you tapping back into that and that wonder, because it's almost like I saw a mountain and I had that optimism and that drive to get to the top of the mountain, and then I climbed and I climbed and I kept climbing. I got tired, and I almost gave up at one point, but I kept going because that fire kept me going. I'm sitting at the top of the mountain right now, and I'm just taking a breather, and I'm looking at another mountain, and it's like, it's almost this feeling of like, now what do I do now? Like, do I climb up there? Do I even want to climb up there? What do I do now? Like, where do I go? And then even when you're having these ideas of things to do, there's almost this feeling of, you're hearing other people's projections of like, you can't do that, I can't do that. And even a child's like, no, don't listen to that, listen to me. Like, I got you here and I can take you here. You just got to hold my hand. You've got to tap back into that. And the way you do that, there's something about music, because Clairaudiently I heard so many songs coming through. So it's like, you have to tap back into it through your creative center, creating, watching movies that inspire you, listening to music that inspires you, doing, all of these fun things that connect you to that, so that you can see life as your inner child again, it ignites that spark, and you can bring in that abundance. Because I feel like you're one of those people that's very expansive like that. Very much so. You almost feel like ruled by Jupiter in a way. It's very ruled that way. And you may have like a personal year number 3 or something like that. Not personal year number, life path number 3. I was looking at like personal years the other day. That's why I said that. But yeah, you may have life path number 3, soul urge number 3. Like there's so much Jupiter energy coming through that I just feel like you are a very good alchemist and manifester as well. And it's like, I feel like you may have been adult in a bit, or with the moon here, you may have been delving into your own fears and your own shadow side, that it's almost like, how do I bring in this 10 of Pentacles? But I feel like a lot of these things that you dream about are reaching, you're listening to your intuition, you're listening to your own inner compass of, this is where I need to go, this is where I need to go. But there's this feeling of feeling very burnt out, like you can't tap back into that. You're not feeling super confident right now, or you're just feeling tired. And of course, honor those feelings. But for those of you that are like, I want my spark back, I don't even know where I want to go next because I'm completely burnt out. That's why we have the 7 of Cups here. It's like, I don't know where to go next, I don't know what path to take. And it's like, tap back into your inner child, tap back into what makes you feel good. Because if it is shadow work you've been doing, you'll find that your desires before and after that inner work are going to be different. So you're being called to like be in a state of play right now. It's reminding me of like you know, before you start like a game and you go into demo mode and it doesn't count and you just kind of play around, you crash into things, you know, it's a demo mode. I'm almost being told that right now you're in a demo mode of having a little bit of time out to, you know, play about, see what feels right for you, tap back into that mystical side of life or that fun side of life, so that you can ignite yourself again to move forward. And you'll find then that you'll know which path to pick and you'll be able to jump to that abundance. But that's something really strongly coming through for you guys, pile number 2. It's like nurturing and cheerleading yourself and getting excited about little things again, and doing things that make you feel good again. Have you just been so like work that you haven't been doing anything that like connects you to your like, I'm being told like your joyful center, like that pleasurable center, you know what I mean? Like hobbies. Have you like just kind of given up on like little side hobbies and stuff right now, or things that make you feel good? Like, I haven't got time for that. Maybe you've been adulting because your inner child's like, I want, like pointing at the window, like, I want to play. And you're like, not now. It's like, I want to play though. Like my slide, my swings, everything's out there. Like, I want to play. And you're like, no, you know? And I feel like you may even be called to do things that connect you to your inner child, but then it's like, I can't be doing this. I'm wrong for doing this. I've got to be in work mode. I've got to be in healing mode. You know, I've got to keep doing shadow work. But we're always healing on this journey, and I think it's time now to really build yourself back up again. You may have gone through an ego death, and you may be still feeling like you need to pick at things around you, but I'm being told it's time to build that ego back up now and enjoy life again. That way your inner child can soar, and I feel like you'll have that expansive energy back to reach something that you're wanting to reach. And I feel like there's something you're going to reach that isn't even in your mind right now. It's like, it hasn't even come to you yet. It's only going to be able to come to you if you open up to that expansive energy, because that's when it flows through. But it's almost like I'm cutting off to that right now because I need to be in work mode, or I need to be adulting, or I need to think logically. But you're being called to balance that out, because there's something that hasn't even fallen into your awareness yet that is like another mountain that you're going to want to reach. And the reason that it hasn't fallen in yet, one, I feel like you haven't opened up to it yet because you haven't been in the state of receiving. You've been in a very logical based way, which has been fine for you to reach your targeted goals, but now it's time to swing the other way a little bit. And it's born through your own desire and creation, and if you haven't been playing with that recently, you won't even know what that is yet. So it's like, you know, like, it's like, I love to try new foods, and no one around me likes to do that, right? Like, no one in my family. And like, I was eating jalapenos, and my sister was like, I don't like jalapenos. I was like, how do you know if you don't like them? Like, if you haven't tried them? And she's like, I just don't like them. I'm like, but how do you know though? I ended up getting her to eat it. She really didn't like it. She doesn't like spice at all. But how would she have known she didn't like them if she hadn't tried it? So it's like this, it's like, how do you know what path to take yet if you haven't opened up to the possibilities yet? How do you know what hairstyle suits right on you if you haven't tried like 10 different hairstyles to see what looks good in the mirror? You know, so it's like you're being called to play right now because there's something that's going to ignite within you when you do have a little bit more fun in your life and bring more fun into your life. It's like something's going to ignite and it's like, oh wow, I really love doing this, or I have a really strong, you know, this is like, it's almost like a bit of soul retrieval. It's like opening up to another aspect of your soul, and it's like, that's my mission. And then you'll be like looking back and be like, that's always been my mission. That's kind of like part of it, because technically I've liked that from the beginning. I just didn't and it's like, oh my god, I think I know what mountain I want to climb now. And you go for it. But you can only do that if you're tapping into it, and you have such a strong resonance with movies, music, things like that. I think that's where your inner child gets fed. And yeah, I feel like that's what you're being called to do, to tap into. There's something gonna reach you. It could be like you have a business or a business idea and you've done everything, but now you've hit a brick wall. So when you hit a brick wall, you know, you have to like zoom out, gain perspective, have a breather, you know, wait for a new idea to come through to get around that wall. And that's where your inner child comes in to the rescue. Like, okay, what do we love? What lights us up, you know? Pile number 2, messages from pile number 2's inner child. We have the Magha. I'm hearing that song, I've got the magic in me. Pile number 2. Yeah, there's something that hasn't come into your awareness yet that I feel is related to, look at that, reclaim. There's something that hasn't come into your awareness yet. It's like there's $1 million locket at the middle of this pond, but logic tells me I shouldn't get wet right now, but my inner child's telling me to go for a dip and play around. I listen to my inner child, I go for a dip in the pond, my foot touches something, I go down and I find this $1 million necklace, and it's like, oh wow, okay, you know what I mean? So it's like, through playing, the answers kind of like then come in, sort of thing. The back of the deck, we have patience that came up for pile 1. Maybe John's a pile 1. Pile 1's was more emotional, but it could be that you have 2 messages to come through. It's very centered around that expansive energy of looking at the world. Those topics did kind of come out in both, in different ways. Why do we have reclaim? Yeah, it's like okay, so this is what I'm going to explain. I deleted Twitter off my phone, and I haven't been looking at trends or anything recently, right? The only reason I personally haven't been doing that is because when I started my spiritual journey, everything was like magical and I was just following these breadcrumbs. No one told me what angel numbers were or anything like that, and it was fun having these things just come into my awareness with no one telling me, and then I could just find my way that way. And I wanted to go back to that because I felt that was when I was at my best and when I felt more in alignment. So I deleted Twitter. I haven't, you know, I've taken lots of breaks from Instagram and stuff, so I haven't really been looking at like trends and all these words that everyone knows about. Like I haven't really been seeing it. And there's something for me, and you don't have to relate, but I feel like you may, that's why I'm saying it. There's something for me about not knowing what's to come and finding love in something, and it feels like you're reclaiming a part of your soul. No one told you about it. Your heart just took you there. Like a career path. Like for me with shamanism, because I've been doing a shamanic healing course, no one told me about shamanism. No one told me how to, you know, that I needed to do it or that I had done it in past lives. I just naturally connected to it, had past life memories and followed it. And there's something for you about when you are in your inner child state, these things just flow to you and you reclaim parts of your soul that ignite you and propel you even further in regards to your life purpose, and ignite you, and not just that, but your own happiness as a soul, as a human being. And I feel like the way that you do that, the way that life gives you these breadcrumbs to follow, is through your inner child ignite in you, like, because you're such a passionate person, you have a lot of fire energy. I feel if you don't, that's fine. It's just a fire I'm feeling from you naturally, and I feel like that's the way that the universe kind of signals you to move about. Some people move through just listening to their intuition or following their heart, and I feel like for you it's your heart, but it's a passion that you have and it's ignited, and I feel like you tapping back into your own little magic here and your own inner child. It's like you're reclaiming something, and I feel like something's gonna just drop where you're like, oh my god, okay. It's like you weren't looking for it, just came in. It's like, oh my god, I'm having past life, like a past life remembrance of me doing this, and I'm really good at it. Or I'm gonna do this skill for fun. Don't have any, I'm being shown archery. I don't have any skills there. You do it and you're really good at it, and then it ignites this essence of a past life, and then through that essence of that past life being, coming up for you, it's like, I remember in that past life when this happens, and then it leads you down this other tunnel of realizing your fullest potential. It's like a journey, and that's something that your inner child's referencing. Okay, because you may be listening to other people's opinions right now, and you may not be wanting to, but it's just because you're feeling like a little bit of your spark's gone out. I don't think it's anything that you have to necessarily do shadow work wise. It's just like you've been in that logical state of mind, and now you're in a child's like, okay, let's play now. The more you play, the more it ignites you, the more fire you have, the more you don't listen to people's opinions and you jump. The universe listens to that optimism and takes you there, to this Ten of Pentacles, abundance. Pile number 2, messages from the inner child. I keep having like little hiccups, like not like hiccups consistently, like every 2 minutes is like hiccup, 5 minutes later hiccup. I'm like, what is going on? Pile number 2, messages from pile number 2's inner child, please, spirit guides. I always mess up the cards when I shuffle. I don't think orange suits my hands, but I'm going through sacral chakra work right now. I'm doing work on my sacral chakra, so I put orange on. Don't know why I just let that out. I just did. Full moon in Cancer, let your fears dissolve. Yeah, I feel like you've gone into that. You've gone into that like logical sense that other people's fears you're almost taking on, instead of listening to your inner compass. Because you've been on the ground level doing the concrete work recently, or again with the moon energy, it's like shadow work. Looking at life and feeling those more lower emotions that don't feel so expansive. But you're healing that. You're moving beyond. Like, it's not even that. It's like you're like, I feel like you go very one way and very the other way. And I think that works for you. Not that you're like completely out of balance. It's just that you listen to your intuition and you listen to that drive, like, right, I have to physically put all of the work in here. Okay, now I need to, do you know what I mean? It's like you'll go one way or the other way, and I feel like it works because it's like when you lean into your inner child and that passion, it catapults you forward. And then while you're being catapulted and you have that energy, your logical side comes in and starts doing all the work that gets you to where you need to go. But then you'll keep doing that, and I feel like you've just reached a point now where you just continuing to do the logical side because that spark may have, I wouldn't say it's gone out, it just feels a bit dim. I think this is more so coming through as a reminder from your inner child. This is what we're doing next. Last quarter moon in Libra, make time for self-love. Yeah, I feel like you've been working. In the words of Rihanna. I feel like you've been working. Head down. And I feel like you've been doing it for you, but now it's time to like I said, tap into your inner child. Full moon in Aries, cool your emotions. I feel like you're almost getting frustrated as well. Fire energy on that's making me frustrated. It's like it's like you're trying to pull that fire energy from anywhere to keep physically going. And I feel like the universe is almost like, the universe doesn't block, but it's like nothing's maybe working out the way that you want, or you're not having this inspiration right now because the answer isn't in working, which is why it's causing a frustration. The answer is in falling back, self-love, having, playing with your inner child right now, tapping into that right now. Let's pull a card for you guys, the final card. Pile number 2. Messages from pile number 2's inner child. We have, I don't know how to say that, Midas star. Luck is on your side. Let the magic happen. Look at, and we have like the Magha there. Let the magic happen. Luck is on your side. And we have the Wheel of Fortune here. 10 of Pentacles here. This, I feel like there's another goal that you're thinking of, or there's a way of life that you would like to live. There's something that you know is on its way in, and you're not quite knowing what to do now, or how to bring it in. But you need to tap into your magic to understand how to do that, to get that drive. And that's what this message is. Luck is on your side. When you reach these goals in the past, no one brought those goals to you. And yes, the universe co-created with you because you are part of the universe. And yes, your spirit guides would have helped if you called out. But at the end of the day, the reason you reach those milestones is because of you. You did it. That magic is in you, and it's always within you. Nothing can blow it out. Your light doesn't go out. You know what I mean? It doesn't just snuff out. You always have that within you, especially with the fire energy that you have. It's always there. You're needing to be reminded of that right now, and tap into that right now so that you can feel that expansive energy and that feeling that you're having, that you know there's a pathway coming in that's going to then flow its way in, and then you'll have like an aha moment, like this is what I want. But like everything, we want to be open to the unknown. We want to be open to whatever can come in. And I feel like that's something you may be struggling with right now. How could I reach that goal? Or where else could I even possibly go? And I think you're going to be quite surprised to see that there's like an even bigger plan that I feel like your higher self has. But you're going to need that light back, and the way that you do that is tapping into those songs that make you feel good and make you feel. I always like to listen to rap music because, like when you listen to rap music and like those artists have songs where they went from nothing, came to something. I really related to those songs. They really helped me. So I feel like it might be that, because I lose yourself at the beginning of the reading. So it's like that, drive. You're being called to tap back into. And the back of the deck, I did a motorbike and I went bike. The back of the deck, we have Light of Hope. Hope gives us positive feelings and energy to accomplish what we desire. It's like you've lost hope. You've lost that light. You've lost that idea that you could bring anything in that you need. And that's why your inner child is like, let's go outside and play, so you can tap into that expansive energy to bring it in. Hope gives us positive feelings and energy to accomplish what we desire. It's all in you. That magic's in you. And you're being called to remind yourself of that and play. And I feel like something's going to make its way in. An answer to a prayer that you've been asking about is going to make its way in then. But the way to it is in that optimism, tapping into your inner child. That's when it's going to come in. So pile 2, that is what I have for you. I really hope that I brought clarity to you guys today. Hit the thumbs up and comment down below if I did, or if you enjoyed the reading, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. So thank you guys for watching. Hey pile 3, welcome to your reading. So we are taking a look at what messages your inner child has for you right now. You guys chose the selenite. I'm going to start with tarot, and then we're going to move on to your oracle cards. So let's get in. Pile number 3, please, spirit guides. Pile number 3, tap me into the collective of my pile number 3s right now. The reason that you chose the selenite is because I just feel like a deep cleansing. It doesn't feel like a purge. It feels like a cleanse. It's like I see like a really crystallized lake, and I almost see like your soul like dipping into that lake. It's like when you have like a cut or a graze on your knee, and before you put the plaster over it, you have like cream because, you know, you've purged, you've felt the pain, you've, you know, done all of that, you've feared what could happen, and then you put the cream on to help it. So there's something about like, I've purged, I've healed, and now there's cream on and I'm being soothed. I still know that there's a graze there, and I know it's going to take a second to heal, but the worst of it's over, the cream is on, and I'm safe. And there's a strong message coming through, not from your inner child, but your spirit guides, because I feel like you may be feeling like you are an embodiment of your inner child right now. There's a reference of you are safe, all is well. Sometimes when we heal and we purge something heavy, which I feel you guys have, because when I got the selenite crystal for you, I didn't have a particular chakra I was taken to at all. I just saw white. So I thought, okay, one of the white crystals. And as I put my hand over the crystals, I kept hearing in my mind, gentle, 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 gentle. And then my hand went over the selenite Sophia, and I felt that. And when I opened up to your energy, there was a strong divine feminine urge that came through, which I feel was your spirit guides coming through. You have a lot of feminine energies in your circle spiritually. And it could be the ancestors, like divine feminine ancestors coming through to nurture. And I was being told a reference about scar tissue, and how even though we heal, sometimes there's scar tissue, and we may still be aware of that wound for a little while, but it doesn't mean that it's not healing. Doesn't mean that it's not getting better. And as time goes on, it starts to fade and go. And there was a reference of that coming through before I begin. So I want to say the worst is over in regards to something you've purged, because I feel like you've really purged something. And I find that in my collective a lot. Like, spirit kind of call me to do more guidance and healing readings, because a lot of the people that I find come to me are doing active shadow work and active inner work. And I just want to say how grateful I am to you guys for the work that you've done, because there's something really big that you've just like, it's like it almost looks like a lilac teardrop that I'm being shown, and it's like, the lilac teardrop's going in, it's like a connection from spirit, like a healing energy, and it's going right down to the root to help heal something so that it can fully bloom and grow in the way that it's intended to. And I feel like you've been removing the weeds and going all the way deep into the soil to allow this teardrop to make its way down. And it's like you've really been working on yourself, pile 3, and there's a strong gratitude even from spirit coming through, but like there's an alchemization in your energy right now. Yeah, that's what I'm being told. Let's get into the cards and see what your inner child has to say. But you're in a period now which may feel like a void. And the void isn't anything to fear. From nothing we create something. So when we are in a void, there's so much room, and we may be scared because there's nothing there, but that's when we create. That's when we give purpose to something. And I feel like you maybe feel like you're in the void right now. Pile number 3. A message from pile number 3's inner child. A message from pile number 3's inner child. Okay, so we have death, and we have the 7 of Swords reversed. I'm going to lay the cards and then I'll continue to channel. Did someone in your family used to rub your back when you cried, or did they already do it? There's almost a feeling of like, my arm's on someone's back and I'm rubbing it. Or maybe you do that, so almost like spirits like replicating it to you. I'm also being shown there's a cat around you. It doesn't have to be a cat, but I'm being shown a cat. It doesn't have to be, it could be a dog, it could be a bird that's always sitting outside your window that's like actively with you healing. And if you have a pet in the higher realms, that pet's with you too. But I'm strongly picking up a cat. It's coming through, whether it's past or it's still with you. I just see it sitting there watching you and just taking on energies to help you, you know. Pile number 3. Messages from pile number 3's inner child. We have the Hierophant. You may feel like everything's come to a standstill right now. Oh, card's falling. Let me grab your card. My voice is going today for some reason. We have the Lovers. And we have the King of Pentacles. Let me move these around. Lots of pinks. Higher heart chakra energy. You may have been grieving. You know when an egg is in an incubator? Your energy feels like that right now. We have the Empress here as well. Yes, life may feel pretty still right now. It's not that it's still, it's that you're being poured back into. The cream's going on the greys, you know what I mean? And you're in safe hands is what I'm being told spiritually. There's a lot of alchemization going on, and right now you really need to take your time. You may be from that pile that's been coming up recently where I'm talking about resting and healing. You've done a lot. Like when I say, like when I really look in at the work you've done, I think that you may overlook how much inner work you've done on yourself. I think that you've been, because the thing is, it's not so much your inner child coming through, it's your spirit guides coming through, because it's almost like I'm here holding hands with my inner child, and we're both alchemizing right now. We're both alchemizing. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's your inner child going through this alchemization right now. That's happening. With the Seven of Swords reversed, it's like, did you have a parent in childhood, pile number 3, who would almost... Okay, I feel like you may have had a parent in childhood that would almost make you feel like you were the bad guy, you were the wrong, you were the one in the wrong. It's like you have to be good. You have to do everything that I say because that way you're good, and you have to strive to be good. A good girl, a good boy, a good person in this lifetime, because that's when you're liked, and that's when you're honorable, and that's when you're worthy, when you are good. And the way you are good is you cater to my needs and you do what I want you to do. So it's like there's a feeling then of almost feeling like, okay, I have to, because this is coming from your inner child, like, okay, I have to be a good person. I don't want to be a bad person. I don't want to be kind of like ostracized like that. I need to do good by other people, and I need to be kind to them and be good to them. Even when they're being mean to me, I have to be good. I have to see the light in them. I have to, pour into them. I have to do that. I have to do that. And it got to a point, I feel, pile 3, where you may have feared, and this is something a lot of empaths tend to go through, you may have feared being seen as a bad person, because in your mind that was the worst thing that could ever happen. So anytime you stuck up for yourself, stuck up for your own, you put in your own boundaries, you had your own needs with people, and you said, I don't want to really tolerate this. People naturally, when that happens, projected, maybe, you're mean, you're a bad guy, you're the narcissist, and it's almost like, no, I have to prove that I'm not, I have to prove that I'm not, I have to be good to everyone, I have to be kind to everyone, I have to prove to that person that I'm not, and that person knows you're not, that person's just projecting what they feel they are onto you. And it's like, there was something the other day, and it was talking about how the easiest way to control someone, the easiest person to control is the person that doesn't want to be seen as a bad person, because they'll continue to try to show that they're not. And I feel like there's something ingrained maybe from your childhood where it was like, I can't be seen as a bad person, I can't be seen in a negative light, I have to maybe people please, I have to self-sacrifice in order to be seen as good. And I feel like these emotions that you're feeling right now that may be coming up, similar to pile 1, you may have been drawn there, of like, how dare you treat me like that, anger, frustration. I actually have my own opinion, and I don't think you're a very nice person, which you're allowed to have opinions in this lifetime. It's almost like you may be feeling like you're turning dark or turning mean or negative because you're having these thoughts, when in actuality some people just aren't very nice, and you're allowed to see the higher perspective, which you always have. You're allowed to see the higher perspective. They're not being very nice right now, they're going through it, but also not tolerate it and be like, you're not someone I really want in my life right now, you're actually not respecting me, and I'm not a bad guy for not wanting that in my life, and I am going to step away from it. And if I'm the bad guy, then I'm the bad guy. I'm whatever. I don't care about the projection you have on me. I know my own intentions, and that's not me. And I feel like there's something about that that's coming up for healing right now with this Seven of Swords reversed. It's like an imposter syndrome. It's like, there's this feeling of like, it's like you may be questioning yourself right now. It's your inner child showing me it. Like, I'm questioning my own intentions, even though I know my own intentions, because maybe you were gaslit by people in your childhood. Like, how do I explain it? I feel like you trigger people, but you don't mean to, because I feel like you're a reflector, like a very true source of like light in that sense, like a strong empath. It's like that watery energy and the reflections, and I feel like people's projections in life, they've almost put on you, and without realizing it, you've taken it on. So I had a friend who I'm just going to explain. I had a friend who was super paranoid that people would stop hanging around with her if they did stuff without her, because they'd all be mean about her and bitch about her and be really mean. And she was so paranoid about that she'd project onto other people, this person's bitching about me, I think that person's bitching about me, I think that person's bitching about me. And it was funny because at least from what I heard, no one had ever bitched about this person at all. And when it came to the end of that friendship circle, everybody had kind of stepped away. She'd kind of pushed a lot of people away, and it came out that she'd been bitching about everybody and no one had said anything about her, and that's why everyone was kind of annoyed, because she'd been bitching about everyone, but it was her own perception making out that everyone had been saying these things. And that was when I really looked at like, wow, people really do project their own things on people. Like, that's quite wild. And I feel like you've almost been a subject of that, like somebody feeling like guilty for the way they've treated you, but then projected it onto you, like, you're bad, you're rude, you're this, when in actuality it's like their own reflection coming back. Like, maybe you've mimicked their own energy back, or you've pulled away. And I feel like a lot of the times you've taken that on, and that's what's being transmuted right now in your energy, and why you may be feeling a bit low, why you may be feeling wrong for feeling certain emotions right now. Because with the Lovers card here and the Seven of Swords reversed, it's like, I feel like you're finally seeing things in a very balanced way, in a way that you can then protect your own inner child, still have love for people, still see things from a higher perspective, still understand that hurt people, but know what to tolerate and where to put your foot down. And I feel like you've never allowed yourself to think, well, that person's rude. It's like, oh, well, that person's going through it. Or that person, that was just bang out of order. That was just not nice. It's like, oh no, but they're going, it's almost like you've made excuses for people. And I think that's fallen away. So now that you're getting accustomed to these feelings, finally honoring them and allowing them out, it's like there's a feeling and a feel like I'm going dark, I'm turning, and you're not. You know that song, One Thing I Like About Me is That I'm Nothing Like You and I Never Will Be? I'm hearing that. It's like you have such a love for people and very pure intentions, and what's being purged right now is, because other people have maybe gaslit or projected onto you, what's purging is you maybe gaslighting yourself or projecting onto yourself, that questioning your own ability, of like questioning what type of friend you've been to somebody, or what type of what your intentions were, even though you already know what your intentions were. It's like you may be, oh, maybe I wasn't a good friend to this person. And of course, take accountability where you need to, but I feel like there is instances where you've really done the right thing or really been there for people and they've really taken advantage of it, and you're being called to allow that to pass through and allow those frustrations to pass through. That's what I'm being told. Why have we got the Empress? Because I feel such a beautiful energy from the Empress on the back. Yeah, this is the thing. I feel like a lot of people have benefited from like you not seeing your own light and took from your own optimism and your own kindness and your own love for people. I feel like people have almost taken advantage of that to the point that you may have even felt like you lost that side of yourself, and it's not lost. It's being transmuted right now. When we have a death, it's not the end, it's a transmutation, and a lot of the times when it transmutes, all it does is become a more stronger, well-rounded version. So I feel like there's a lot of joy moving forward, especially in your personal life in regards to co-workers, friendships and relationships, where in the past there may have been a lot of people that didn't respect your boundaries or yourself. And I feel like what's coming in is people that really value you and see you. And this purification period is happening for you to release anything that was tying you to those people. Because when someone triggers something in us, the reason that they trigger it is they're bringing it from our subconscious, which we can't usually feel and see, to our conscious reality to make us aware of it so we can follow the route back and heal it. But only by someone triggering us are we aware of what's really residing there. And I feel like these people have acted almost as catalysts and triggering these parts of you to show you where, especially with this King of Pentacles here, in your own confidence, in your own ability to help others, inspire others, be there for others, just be the person that you are. It's like people saw the cracks in that foundation, so it almost feed negativity in to make you feel like you couldn't help others, because who are you to be helping somebody, or you were this bad person, so who are you to be sharing kindness? And it's like people have come through those cracks in the foundation, but in a way, them hitting those cracks, it allowed you to see those cracks within you so you can fill them back in with love, confidence for yourself, fill it back in with your own power, realize your power was never taken away from you. You know, people have wanted you to accept the reality that they wanted maybe for you or projected onto you because they could see your potential, and I feel like maybe you've taken it on that you were this person or that person when you weren't. And it's fallen away so that you can create, okay, this is who I am. I know my intentions and I know my wrongdoings and my right doings. You know, I know all of that, and I'm building it back up now because there's no more cracks in my foundations. There's no way for you to make your way in, and I'm putting a halt at it so you can't feed off that anymore because there's no more cracks anymore. There's no more ways in. And I feel like that's happening, and you may already be doing that, and people are like, oh, that person's a bit big for their boots now, that person's really full of themselves now, but you're approaching a time, pal 3, where you don't care what those projections are because you've done so much work on yourself. No one gets to tell you about you, pal 3. You have done so much work and really looked at why you may have been slacking, and you may have been, you know, a bit of the villain here and there when you didn't fully know yourself. And you've really done the work on that. Whereas these people haven't, and they may still be projecting onto you. And you've really done the work. And what your inner child is coming through to say is, you've really, really worked on yourself. And these people that are projecting, they're only projecting because they're not going inward. You know what I mean? They're not going inward and looking. They're not doing that work on themselves, but you are. So what does that say about you? And there's a strong message about that. And you may even feel guilty to feel that. Oh, well, I feel bad. They may not have had the same resources. But both can exist. The duality can exist. You can see the higher perspective and have love, but still have a 3D opinion. You know what I mean? Physical world opinion. You're allowed to have both to exist because you're a multi-dimensional being. And having that multi-dimensional existence allows us to see the higher perspective, but also protect ourselves in the 3D. You know, I have a sibling that I don't speak to, and I probably won't speak to him again in this lifetime. What he's done is very bad. But high perspective wise, spirit wise, I know that he's probably part of my soul tribe. I feel like he is. And I know we'll have other lives where we can settle it, and, you know, he'll be in a better place than I will. But in this reality right now, he is not in a very good place, and it would actually be dangerous for him to have me in my life. So I know in the 3D that I have to keep him at bay, and I have to keep him away from me. But from a higher perspective, I hope he heals, and I love him, and I, you know, wish the best for him. You're allowed to have both, and it doesn't make you for a bad person for just analysing something and going, I don't think that's for me, I don't think you're in a very healthy mind to be around me, or I don't think I deserve that treatment at all, and that was really wrong of you. Because I feel like you've been gaslit out of your own perception of things when you're allowed to have that. It's your birthright as a human being to use that logical side. That's how, you know, when we're outside our instincts, you know, we know a bear may just be protecting its territory, but we don't go and hug it. We'll get eaten. So we have that same duality there, and I feel like that's something coming through from your inner child right now. You're right at the core of your being right now, and that's what's being transmuted. I think that's why it feels so uncomfortable and like everything's come to a halt, because it's like there's a soothing going on. You may be feeling very weepy, very tearful, and rest and keeping hydrated is another message here, because, you know, the emotions connect to water, and when we're crying and these emotions are flowing out, we want to keep regulating that. So make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Maybe get some crystals that connect you to your sacral chakra right now. Amber, orange calcite, citrine, sunstone, you know, crystals like that. I feel like they'd be really helpful. Or just being in water right now. Tiger's Eye is another one coming through quite strongly. Being in water, I think that would be really helpful for you right now. There's nothing that you need to do right now, actually, but rest and honor what comes through. Don't guilt yourself. Don't gaslight yourself. You don't mean to do it. I just feel like you're doing what you may have been taught in childhood. And even though it's flowing away, I just want to bring that message quickly. Don't gaslight your own emotions for feeling a certain way. We had 2 cards that fell out. We have withdraw. Right now is a time for you. Don't let anyone guilt you. Do not let anyone guilt you into needing to hold space for them right now. You have to fill up your own cup first. Right now is about you. We also have ask body. Right now is a time as well to listen to your physical body. You may be purging a lot right now, which sometimes in my own, it happens to me a lot of the times when I'm flaring up hormonally. I'll go through panic attacks. That may be happening for you right now. You're being called to really listen to your body and the foods it needs right now, and anything that your physical body needs right now to rest. You're being called to do it. Don't push yourself to go exercise unless your body's saying we need to go for a run and exercise. Don't push yourself to take on other people's emotions, because it may then cloud what you're processing yourself. Allow yourself to say no. Don't let people guilt you into saying that. And listen to your own instincts as well and your own emotional body, because I feel like you're tuning back into that as well. Because I feel like you're very tapped into your physical body in the sense that if someone's lying to you, if someone, you're very psychic like that, very intuitive. You see very deeply. You have a very strong third eye. So you're someone that's like, you know when someone's lying. You know when someone's not being truthful. You know when somebody's wanting something that isn't very pure, that wouldn't be beneficial to you. You know that. So listen to your body and don't let other people gaslight you when you're picking up on it, because I feel like people have done that too. You may have been in a relationship and maybe someone was cheating and you knew it, but it was just intuitively. You didn't have the right truth yet, and you'd say it, and I feel like you may have been gaslighted in that way to almost reject your own feelings. And I feel like that's what's coming back as well with this energy here of the animal, because I was talking about instincts. You're learning to trust the psychic messages you get, your physical body, your instincts, because you're so in tune. People have taught you that you're not, and you are really in tune. I feel like there's a lot of instances as well where you've really seen the truth of a situation, but you've been guilted or gaslighted out of it. But even you right now, like, I feel like you can think of friendships where it's like, I know what was going on there and I know how you truly felt towards me, and they may have lied and said, no, I didn't feel that way. But because Spirit's saying you have an inner knowing where you just know things, you see things, and you even know it before it happens because you're strongly psychic. And you're learning to trust it. That's what's happening. You're learning to trust it and not second guess yourself. We have Get Creative at the back of the deck. We have the butterfly here with the angel wings. Strong transformation happening right now. Why do we have Get Creative? Why do we have that? I'm being called, similar to the message of Pile 2 in regards to nurturing the inner child, watching movies that connect you to your inner child, watching movies that light you up like that, listening to music. When my cat passed away, she was like my pal through all my healing, I was so distraught, and the first thing Spirit said to me was connect to your inner child. And it was around the time I watched Encanto for the first time, and it just really ignited my feelings and emotions through those movies. I watched Moana. It really regulated my emotions like that. Music, I have like a whole playlist that reminds me of Softy now because of that. I just listen to songs and it would really soothe my inner child. And I think that's a strong message for you right now, because there's something I think you're grieving, or someone you're grieving, and I'm being called for you to tap into movies like that connect you to your inner child. Music, anything that, like the card said, get creative. It could have been used to draw, paint. I used to make stories as a child, where I was a mermaid and I used to write these whole stories out, and I used to draw, and create these storylines, and that was my way of escaping my childhood. And I feel like that could be something that's beneficial to you, because a lot of the times, like, when we learn to escape in our childhood, we then look at it and it's like, we have to learn to be in our physical body. But once we've learned that, we can use that escapism as a gift, where when we need to, we can tap into it. We can tap into it to connect to our inner child. Or I saw someone the other day and they were like, they had to have like a surgery where they were awake, and they used to just disassociate a lot as a child. And she said, this is the first time my disassociation, after healing all of that, I was able to tap into it and use it as a gift. And it wasn't a curse, and it wasn't stopping me from anything, because as I had that open surgery, I was able to just like remove myself and away from my physical body to not feel as much pain. And then when the surgery was over, I just tapped back in and I was fine. And she used it then as a gift. And the thing is with our shadow self and these when we do escape or whatever, once we learn to control it, it never goes away. We just learn to not let it control us. But once we learn how to not let it control us and we have control over it, we can use it as a gift if we want, because anything can be alchemized. It's, good, bad. So there's something that Spirit's saying that you may, you used to maybe daydream or, do things like that in childhood. When you're healing, tap into that, because you're gaining control over it. You can use it as a gift. And that's something that Spirit's saying for you guys right now. That could really be helpful. Not that you're escaping your emotions, not that part, but like, go into another world, you know what I mean? Because that's where your inner child is, and it'll really nurture. Let's pull some more cards. Let me move the Empress card. I really want the Empress card to be in view, so I'm just gonna, that's not in view at all. I'll pop it here. I want you to see it. See, pile number 3, messages from pile number 3's inner child. What have we got? Take a reality check. Full moon in Capricorn. Yeah, it's like you're really seeing the reality of things and facing the, how do we explain it? The rightful emotions that you have. That somebody may be a little bit sly. Somebody may be a little bit mean. Somebody may have some narcissistic traits. You know what I mean? Somebody may have that. It's like you're looking at the reality of it. And that may be what you're grieving. Wow, like I was looking at you through rose-tinted glasses, but really you were like this. Wow, you could be grieving that. And that's okay. But that's what's happening right now, because with the Capricorn energy, you know what I mean? That's Saturn energy. It's like Big Daddy Saturn. It's like a very fatherly energy. It's like you're seeing things in a very practical way now. And processing those emotions. Oh God, your card went away. Full moon in Virgo. Take inspired action. And the thing is, that access of, Virgo and Pisces, it's a very healing, a very, very healing axis. And I feel that with take inspired action here and that Virgo energy, it's like when we think of Pisces energy and, it's the unknown, and it's we look at that illusionary aspect of it, but then we look at the Virgo energy and it's like practicality and, physicality and the physical body. It's like, you're really coming back into your physical body. You're really understanding how to play. And when I say the game, I don't mean it in a bad way, but play the game of the human being, of balancing their higher realms, that Pisces energy, with, the physical realm, the physical body, that Virgo energy. And it's like you're balancing it out. That's what's happening right now. I feel like this energy may be coming from past life too. We have new moon in Gemini. Think it through. I feel like you're thinking a lot as well of friends and relationships, and when people took away your power, and it's like, I shouldn't really be feeling negative. Maybe I was the bad guy, and you're feeling it because you're alchemizing it, because I feel like people benefited from you maybe not being so sure of yourself. Pile number 3. And when we feel new emotions for the first time that we haven't allowed to ourselves to feel, it can feel so weird. Like, I remember when I first processed anger, I thought I was turning into the devil. I thought I was turning dark. I had so much anger that I had to purge out that I never let myself feel. I was so angry for a while, screaming and shouting into thin air. Like, I was so angry, and it was so hard for me to deal with it because I had never dealt with my own anger before. And I always took the high road and buried it, and it came out, and it was like, I was like a fire, and I thought, oh my God, I've gone dark. But then I allowed myself to feel it. I purged, and then I came back to self, and I was able to balance that energy out. And now I'm able to understand when I'm feeling anger and why I'm feeling it. I'm like, what's triggering this? Where am I getting this from? And I can really honour it. And I feel like that's something that's happening for you, Pile 3. Final card, please, Spirit Guides. Pile 3, messages from their inner child. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Take small steps to diminish your worrying. Know it is going to be okay, and so it is. I feel like I need to say that again. Know it is going to be okay, and so it is. We've got Saturn in the background there as well. We've got a few planets in the background there, actually. Do you see how she's an angel and she's looking at things from a higher perspective? Just, is that, are we focused? My camera is an annoying thing that it does where it unfocuses. Let me just say it one more time. Know it is going to be okay, and so it is. You're so protected spiritually right now. I think spirits around you so strongly. It's such like, it felt like I shown like a celestial lake. The cream's going on the wound and you are healing. You're not purging anymore. I don't feel like little things are coming up and you're doing a quick purge, but it's more healing now. You're resting. You're processing these little fragments. You've really done a lot of work on yourself. We also at the back of the deck have celebration. Your spirit needs to play and have fun. And that's why your inner child's then calling you to watch those movies, listen to those songs, you know, dance like no one's watching. That's what I just shared, you know. You may used to have little concerts in your room and dance and sing. You're being called to do that right now, to bring those little inklings of light back in. Which is really going to soothe you too. You have a lot of love with the Empress card here awaiting you, and a lot of beautiful connections awaiting you. You know, we even have the Libra energy here. We have Venus energy here. It's like a lot of beautiful connections are awaiting you because you did the work. You've really done the work, Pile 3. And I'm super proud of you, Pile 3, because you really have. I can see it. You've done a lot for yourself. A lot for yourself. And you've really taken accountability of where you may have messed up at times. And not a lot of people do that in this lifetime. That's why people get triggered, you know. When you bring up people's shadows, they get triggered. They don't want to take accountability of their shadow. But then when you bring up people's, you know, what people can really reach, you know, their capability in this lifetime, they get triggered again because they don't want to take a capability. They don't want to take responsibility even of the fact that it's them that has to reach it. So they'd rather pretend that it's somebody else or somebody else is hindering it, you know, and stay where they are. They don't want the responsibility of my healing's in my hands, my, you know, these heights that I could reach, it's all in me. And you took all of the accountability and you've really fought for yourself. And I'm really proud of you, and spirits around you really strongly. And right now, there's nothing expected of you at all. Just nurture and rest yourself and connect to your inner child through movies and music, whatever you used to do to light yourself up, and really take care of yourself right now as this wound starts to heal up and the cream is being applied. There's nothing really you need to do. Spirit's doing the cream for you, putting the plaster on the band-aid, giving you your meds. There's nothing that you need to do really other than rest, and that's a message from your inner child. Just honor what comes through now. Don't gaslight yourself out of any feelings. Honor it, rest, good things are coming is the message. So Pile 3, that is what I have for you. I really hope that you enjoyed this message. I hope it resonated, and I hope I was able to bring you guys clarity. I'm sending you guys all of my love. I hope you have a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you guys are watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. So thank you guys for watching.